Thank you for tuning in to the Wellbe podcast. This is your host, Adrienne Nolan-Smith. I'm a board-certified holistic patient advocate, and my goal with this podcast and all my other work with Wellbe, which you can check out at getwellbe.com, is to empower you in your health, helping you avoid chronic symptoms and diseases, and helping you heal them as naturally and holistically as possible when they do come up. This week, I'm sharing a brand new investigative guide on leaky gut syndrome, and I have a big announcement, which has been months in the making and is the culmination of years of my work and experience with Wellbe. So here it is. Kelly Noonan-Gores, the filmmaker behind the famous Heal documentary, and I have teamed up to bring you a roadmap to healing, a 9-week online experience going through exactly the components of a successful healing journey, whether that's for a nagging symptom you'd like to get rid of, like skin rashes or chronic UTIs, or a chronic condition like lupus, cancer, or diabetes. A roadmap to healing combines all of our learnings from the Heal experts, Wellbe experts, thousands of pieces of research we have covered in our wrap-ups, my private patient advocacy clients, and the hundreds of successful healing stories we have filmed at Wellbe and that members of both of our communities have written in and detailed for us. The registration for this program will open in mid-April and will run for May and June. Visit getwellbe.com to check out the program details and hop on the waitlist to be notified when the doors open. I cannot wait to get started with this, and if there's anything you've been wanting to kick, I really hope you'll join me. It's a great opportunity to really take action and understand the things that work and get started on those ASAP. All right, now let's talk about a condition that most people don't even know they have, but is tied to dozens of chronic conditions and symptoms. In this episode, I'm going to dive into what leaky gut syndrome actually is, what causes it, how to heal it naturally, the best diet and foods to heal leaky gut, and much more. To understand leaky gut, first of all, you need to have a bit of background on how the digestive tract, aka your gut, works. The digestive tract includes over 4,000 square feet of lining, all of which is just one cell layer thick. These cells, called enterocytes, are like security guards, forming a secure barrier between your body and the outside world. The digestive tract isn't just responsible for getting the good stuff from the food you eat, it's also responsible for keeping the bad stuff out. As foreign items, so foods, drinks, medications, air particulates, etc., enter your digestive tract through your nose and mouth, they're broken down and digested as they pass through your gut. The enterocytes maintain a tight barrier, ensuring that only fully digested nutrients that your body can properly absorb pass through the gut lining and into your bloodstream and organs. Intestinal permeability refers to how easily substances pass from your gut into your bloodstream. In a healthy gut, intestinal permeability is low, but when the gut isn't functioning as it should, the gaps between the enterocytes loosen, resulting in increased intestinal permeability, aka leaky gut syndrome. These bigger holes allow substances that are only partially digested, think rotting pieces of food, to get into your bloodstream, which has a cascade of negative health effects. When your body sees these undigested proteins, toxins, and bacteria, it triggers an immune response causing widespread inflammation. This can result in a variety of different unpleasant symptoms, including digestive issues like diarrhea, constipation, nausea, bloating, gas, and cramps, fatigue, skin problems like acne, rashes, and eczema, joint pain, headaches, brain fog, and more. Leaky gut is also associated with a number of chronic conditions. There's some debate in the scientific community about whether leaky gut is the cause of these conditions or a symptom of them, and it may be that the cause and effect order differs depending on the condition. However, multiple studies have identified the existence of leaky gut prior to the onset of the disease, suggesting that leaky gut is a cause, or at least a precursor. Conditions associated with leaky gut include type 1 diabetes, Crohn's disease, celiac disease, IBS and IBD, so irritable bowel syndrome and inflammatory bowel disease, chronic fatigue syndrome, and food allergies and sensitivities. Leaky gut is still somewhat poorly understood for a variety of reasons. In part, the challenge is that it's difficult to measure the strength of a person's gut lining, so practitioners often have to triangulate their way to a diagnosis based on symptoms. It's also the case that mainstream medicine or conventional healthcare has only relatively recently become clued into the massive role of the gut in overall health, so there's not a ton of scientific research on this topic to date. As the importance of gut health becomes more recognized in mainstream medicine, we're hopeful that a more concrete understanding of leaky gut will emerge. All right, so what causes it? As with a lot of conditions, the two big factors at play when it comes to leaky gut are genetics and lifestyle. Some people are genetically predisposed to have a weaker gut barrier, and so they're more at risk for increased intestinal permeability. But regardless of genes, all of us have the potential to strengthen or weaken our gut lining based on the choices we make each and every day. One big player in intestinal permeability is a protein called zonulin, which regulates how closely the enterocytes, so the cells of the gut lining that we talked about, are packed together. When levels of zonulin rise, the cells loosen, creating gaps and increasing intestinal permeability. Bad bacteria can cause an increase in zonulin, as can gluten, but the jury is still out on whether this is the case for everyone or just those with celiac disease. Aside from zonulin, other factors that can also contribute to leaky gut are 1. Excessive sugar intake. Sugar alters the intestinal barrier, allowing bacteria to make their way into the bloodstream and organs, especially the liver and the heart. Number 2, long-term or excessive use of NSAIDs like Advil and Aleve. We've covered a lot of published research at getwellbe about the side effects and dangers of NSAID and definitely excessive NSAID use. So this is tied to leaky gut, but a lot of other things as well. Number 3, excessive consumption of alcohol. Alcohol can increase intestinal permeability by interacting with certain proteins in the gut. Number 4, nutritional deficiencies. Deficiencies in certain nutrients, including vitamin A, vitamin D, and zinc, have been associated with leaky gut. Number 5 is chronic inflammation. We talk a lot about inflammation at getwellbe, and this one's a little confusing because leaky gut can lead to chronic inflammation, but in some ways, chronic inflammation in the body being caused by something else that's not leaky gut can also induce leaky gut. So it's a very fluid relationship between the two, but chronic inflammation and leaky gut are very linked. Next, we have stress. Stress hormones like cortisol attack the tight junctions that hold the cells of your intestinal lining together, leading to increased permeability. And then lastly, eating foods to which you're sensitive. If you have a food sensitivity that you don't know about, the foods you eat could trigger an immune response, leading to inflammation and potentially contributing to leaky gut and the loosening of the gut lining. So now you might be thinking, all right, I think I have this. How do I heal it naturally? If you suspect you might have increased intestinal permeability, you have a lot of options for healing it. Some physicians prescribe drugs for the condition, including antibiotics, antidepressants, and immune system suppressors, but pharmaceuticals always come with side effects and fail to address the root cause of the issue. Think about it. If your gut lining isn't sealed properly, no amount of drugs is going to seal it if you continue eating, drinking, or doing some of the things that caused it to unseal or become permeable. Thankfully, there are many lifestyle-based, side effect-free ways to heal leaky gut naturally. Ultimately, the course of action that works for you will depend on the underlying cause of your increased intestinal permeability. But generally, taking steps to improve your overall gut health will support a strong intestinal lining and can help you heal leaky gut. To support your gut health and help heal it naturally, you can 1. Take probiotics. Probiotics provide your gut with the good bacteria it needs to stay balanced and function optimally. For vetted, getwellbe-approved probiotic brands, check out our non-toxic product database at getwellbe.com. It's by far the best resource for understanding vetted, curated, non-toxic products in tons of categories, one of which is supplements. Next up, avoid NSAIDs. We talked about this a few minutes ago, but if you're trying to heal leaky gut, and for a variety of other reasons based on the published research we've covered at getwellbe, there are many reasons to steer clear of NSAIDs altogether or to severely limit your use of them. Remember, NSAIDs are things like Advil or Aleve. Next, avoid antibiotics. Antibiotics kill the good bacteria in your gut, disrupting your gut health. Obviously, if you're in a life-threatening situation and you need to take antibiotics, do, but otherwise do your best to find ways to avoid taking antibiotics. And that means also eating grass-fed organic meat and dairy, because the organic certification means they can't use antibiotics in the feed or give antibiotics to the livestock that then you get as you ingest that meat or dairy. Next, Drink in moderation if you drink at all, or limit alcohol when you are healing your leaky gut in the healing phase. Then we have reduce stress. Practices like mindfulness, meditation, and other acts of self-care can help lower your levels of stress hormones, allowing your gut to heal. Next, we have testing for nutritional deficiencies. I highly recommend this for everybody who doesn't know what their nutritional levels are as far as things like vitamin D and zinc and iron. And if you need to, take a supplement. Wellbe has an entire library, as I mentioned, in the non-toxic product database of vetted practitioner-grade supplements. I, for one, take a probiotic and vitamin D every morning. It's really important for me for a variety of reasons. So if you are like me and you have a nutritional deficiency, this is important in general, but especially if you think you might have leaky gut. Next, identify any food sensitivities. You can do this by adopting an elimination diet, where you take out many potential sensitivities and allergens over usually 3 weeks, and then slowly reintroduce food groups and pay attention to your body's reaction. Next, we have move your body. Research shows that getting regular exercise can aid in digestion and improve the transportation of oxygen throughout your body, promoting good gut bacteria that strengthens the gut lining. Lastly, take anti-inflammatory supplements. Remember the relationship between chronic inflammation and leaky gut. Supplements like L-glutamine, licorice root, and omega-3s have anti-inflammatory benefits that can help tame an inflammatory response in your body and allow your gut lining to heal and reseal. As I just mentioned, we have a non-toxic product database where you'll find vetted practitioner-grade brands of some of the anti-inflammatory supplements I just mentioned. So if you don't already have access, head to getwellbe.com, check it out. I think you'll find that it saves you a ton of time and overwhelm as far as knowing what's good, what's safe, and making it really easy to purchase. All right, now, food and diet. As you may have guessed, since leaky gut is so closely connected with what you put in your mouth, the most important element of healing leaky gut is your diet. To support a strong intestinal lining and help repair any increased permeability, you want to eat foods that promote good bacteria and fend off harmful bacteria, and avoid anything that doesn't agree with your unique body. Everyone's gut healing diet will look slightly different because each of us has our own distinct microbiome, but the best gut healing diet generally contains these foods and food groups. 1. Fermented foods. Foods like kimchi, sauerkraut, tempeh, and miso can boost the amount of good bacteria or probiotics in your gut. One caveat is SIBO, small intestinal bacterial overgrowth, which is one gut-related condition in which fermented foods are not helpful or advised. So if you suspect you might have SIBO or do have SIBO, I would not add fermented foods to your diet until you have healed it. Next, we have complex carbohydrates. The fiber in gluten-free grains like brown rice, amaranth, and buckwheat contribute to good gut health by keeping you regular and clearing out toxins. Next, we have fruits and vegetables. Produce like bananas, broccoli, grapes, citrus, cabbage, leafy greens, and carrots are rich sources of soluble fiber, which is a prebiotic compound, meaning it feeds your good gut bacteria. We have a great episode with Dr. Will Bulsiewicz all about the importance of fiber, and he gets into all of these details. It's one of my favorite episodes and super popular. Search Get Wellbe and fiber in your podcast app and you'll find it. Next, we have cultured dairy or non-dairy. So things like yogurt or kefir, either from animals like goat or sheep or cow, or plants like cashews or coconuts with active probiotic cultures, encourage a good balance of bacteria in your microbiome. Next, we have healthy fats. The short-chain fatty acid, butyric acid, helps feed and heal enterocytes, those cells that secure your gut lining, encouraging a strong gut lining. Healthy fats like ghee, coconut oil, avocado oil, and olive oil are good sources of butyric acid. Then we have collagen. Collagen, which you can find in powdered form as well as in bone broth, contains amino acids that are beneficial to strengthening and sealing the intestinal tract and the stomach lining. Now, the not as fun part. As well as eating the gut healing foods just mentioned, it's important to avoid foods that can be damaging to your gut health. That means reducing your consumption of sugar, refined carbohydrates, processed foods, gluten, alcohol, and refined oils. So what's the Wellbe takeaway? Leaky gut can be a confusing topic, and there are a lot of misconceptions about it, and there's still a lot we are learning. But here's what to remember about the condition and what to do if you think you might be struggling with it. Number 1, your gut lining acts like a security guard, protecting your bloodstream and organs from things such as foods, drinks, medicine, and bacteria that enter your digestive system through your mouth and nose. In a healthy gut, the cells in your intestinal lining form a secure barrier and only allow fully digested nutrients that your body can handle to pass through. When your gut lining becomes compromised, the gaps between cells loosen, allowing undigested proteins to pass into your bloodstream. In other words, your gut leaks, hence the term leaky gut. This triggers a cascade of inflammation that can lead to various other health issues. Symptoms of leaky gut include digestive issues, fatigue, joint pain, skin problems, and headaches. Leaky gut is associated with a number of chronic conditions. There's some debate about whether leaky gut is a cause or symptom of these conditions, but research suggests it's probably the former. These conditions include Crohn's disease, celiac disease, type 1 diabetes, chronic fatigue syndrome, and many more. Various lifestyle factors can cause leaky gut, including excess consumption of sugar or alcohol, stress, a sedentary lifestyle and a lack of movement, long-term use of NSAIDs, nutritional deficiencies, and eating foods to which you have a sensitivity, known or unknown. The way you heal leaky gut will depend on the underlying cause, but generally taking steps to improve your gut health can help repair your gut lining as well. This means doing things like reducing your stress, avoiding NSAIDs, things like Advil and Aleve, and antibiotics, getting regular exercise, taking probiotics and other anti-inflammatory supplements, and identifying food sensitivities and nutritional deficiencies. The most important thing you can do to heal leaky gut is eat a gut healing diet. That means plenty of fruits and vegetables, gluten-free, whole grains, fermented foods like kimchi and sauerkraut, collagen, cultured dairy, whether that's from an animal or a plant, and healthy fats. It also means avoiding inflammatory refined oils, processed foods, sugar, gluten, dairy, alcohol, and artificial sweeteners. So now I want to know, have you struggled with leaky gut? Were you able to heal it? Share your story in the comments section at the bottom of the article version of this episode on getwellbe.com, and I'm including a link to that in the show notes. I'd love to know your experience. And also, while you're there, don't forget to join the waitlist for A Roadmap to Healing, the brand new collaboration between the Heal documentary team and the WellBe team to take people through a step-by-step process based on so much data about what actually works through successfully healing chronic symptoms and conditions. It's going to be incredible, and I can't wait to have you be a part of it. If you're not interested in that, become a WellBe Insider while you're on the site anyway, and you'll get a free copy of my audio guide, How to Feel the Best You've Ever Felt and Heal Anything. Because as you may have guessed, the exact things that are important for healing are also the things that keep you well and happy and living a long life. Even if you're the healthiest person out there, it's a free audio guide and it's definitely worth a listen. I'll see you back here next week for another episode of the WellBe Podcast. If you found this episode helpful or interesting and haven't already, please subscribe to the podcast and or leave a quick review. And also please share this episode with family or friends who you think might find it valuable and informative or just might need to hear some of this information. Reviews, subscribers, and shares mean a lot and help more people find the WellBe Podcast. If you've already done all these things, then thank you so much. I really appreciate it. Once again, this is your host, Adrienne Nolan-Smith, and thanks for listening to the WellBe Podcast.